Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the second hour, which is the second to last hour because we started an hour late, um, of The Witcher. So let's see. The three of you had made yourselves to the far side of the bar, finally there, and are together. One of you is outside with the boy, and
Boy.
hi, Bastion, you're here.
Hey.
I'd ask you how your Christmas was, but we already did that part, so we're gonna move on. So you guys are in there, and now from here you're actually trying to find somebody by the name of Applebottom. So you're Neville Applebottom. What?
Apple bottom jeans.
Boots at the fur.
Boots to the fur.
So you guys, oh, that's sad. So
Hey, mate, those are my Christmas present slippers. They're sheep's wool.
men shouldn't be wearing furry boots.
They're slippers, and they're cute as fuck.
Let's just change the subject. So you are inside there and you try to find this gentleman. So Levistus. So how is it you intend to go about trying to find them, or do you expect them to try to find you?
I cast detect magic before entering, just to see if there's anything interesting in there.
Well, you can subtle cast, can't you?
Yeah.
Gotcha. I can tell you that if you cast it before going in there and you were trying to make your way through the crowd with that cast, I'm going to require some concentration checks. Just one, just to make sure that you can actually get through because of how chaos it is. By the way, I did make myself another cup of coffee, and then as soon as it was done, my wife put cream into it and brought it in here, and it was a brand new thing of cream, and it was floating at the top, and I was like, ugh, the cream went bad before we bought it, and we bought bad cream. Ew.
Mm.
Now I don't have coffee. I'm upset. So concentration check did work. You actually were able to maintain it, making your way through the thing. So looking about inside that area, it was really difficult for you to take in much of what was going on, just because the sheer density of people was too great as you were picking your way through. But now that you're on the other side, you have it casted and everything. You can try to look about and see if anything stands out for you. Roll me a perception check.
Ooh. Oh.
Unfortunately, nothing really stands out to your eye. The magic items that you had picked up recently or were already carrying prior are what's really kind of sticking out for you. Don't forget, you did get that one magic item off of out of Malvoon's place that you guys never used. The crystal.
Oh yeah, the little like pendant thing.
Yeah. So anyways, so nothing stands out for you. Any other ways that you guys want to try to find this man?
What's the makeup of people in here? Are they all human?
Predominantly human, but I want to say it's like 92% human. And then
Why
there's
the two, dude? Come on.
because there's exactly 100
for me.
exactly 100 people here, and 7 of them are not human, and 1 of them is Luis.
Rounded for me like a sorcerer.
Beautiful. So,
Are there any dwarves?
There is actually a dwarf. Yep, the dwarf is currently he's probably not a paid entertainer, but he's currently being entertaining. He's most likely very, very, very drunk and is standing on the bar and dancing.
Okay, hear me out. It's gonna sound racist, but what if we have a word with a dwarf?
what's he wearing?
Nothing.
He's wearing clothing.
Oh.
This is not the bent knee. So he's wearing typical like a commoner's garb. So tunic and trunks. He's got boots that are seen better days before, and he's got a very long beard, but it actually is fairly well kept. A considerable amount of froth in it right now, though.
So, commoner's garb. What I'm looking for is a tailor would have, yes, perhaps shitty quality clothes in terms of the actual quality of fabrics, but the actual construction itself should be pretty good.
Designed well. So you want to look about for people that are dressed very well. Okay, so that'll be a separate perception check for me.
Just before we go and racistly pick on the one dwarf.
So you try looking about, and most of the people in here have commoner's garb. Beyond that, you don't see anybody that really stands out as having like particularly nice clothes. Sure, nicer clothes, but nothing that's particularly nice. I'm gonna have to play with my windows again, aren't I? But nothing that's like crazy, particularly nice. How about you, Luis, Hawkeye? How are you looking?
I'm thinking maybe it might just be easier to let them find us.
Know that we're coming.
Yeah, they don't necessarily know that you're on your way.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure we could make a show of it, right?
Well, it wouldn't be hard to strike up conversation about carriers.
Ah, good plan. We can make a show of it. Tal's gonna tear Luis's shirt. Loudly.
That's my shirt.
Nobody really seems to notice, aside from like one or two people nearby. The place is very loud.
I can't believe he tore my shirt.
Oh no! This man has caught his shirt! Whatever will he do? Perhaps a tailor could fix it for him.
Somebody looks over and just says like, "Mucking idiot," and
I shoved the drink back to Tal's. Like, that's not gonna work.
Oh yeah, let's go with your plan then. Harass the one dwarf in the room.
We'll take a pass, just, you know.
So, do you guys kind of like allow more time to pass, or do you choose to go and harass the dwarf? Because nobody seems to take that bait.
It was a very well laid out bait.
Tore my shirt.
Oh
Alright,
no!
Sorry, Luis.
I'm gonna walk up to someone. I'm gonna be like, "Hey, my shirt's torn. Do you know of a tailor that can help me fix it?" It's like really casual. Some random guy I see close by.
Random guy says, "Oh, I don't know much about this town. I'm riding through."
So then I'll go to someone else. I'll keep asking.
Similar responses. Roll me a persuasion check to more or less act as like charisma check.
Charisma?
Si, senor. Senor.
That's saving throw. That's not what I want.
Eventually you're able to find somebody that's has a bit more information. And they do tell you that there is a good tailor in town, that, you know, is well renowned for the quality of work that they do. And that often they do visit this bar. You rolled high enough to get a bit of information. They do often visit this bar, but usually not so early in the evening when it's crowded. They usually will come like later on after it's died down a considerable amount.
Okay,
So
we'll come
smart.
back.
Cool.
So yeah, I guess we'll just come back when the tailor's ready for us.
Or just continues keeping your spot and wait until it dies down a bit. Either way, whatever's better for you. Yeah.
Yeah, let's just give that guy who's like sleeping on the table a little nudge. So like he just starts sliding slowly. He's gonna go off in half a minute.
You know, being a monk, I will say you precisely do the exact amount of nudging that you need for his slow. Oh, how convenient! Kick him to the side.
Roll
Alright.
him against the radiator so he stays warm.
Bastion.
There's no radiator.
The boy that since the events wherein Neil almost died, did die but came back, and
He got better.
and the boy was saved and all that crazy fight. You guys had to travel for several more days since then. You've more or less been trying to think to yourself, how it is you're going to approach this boy and explain to him that more or less he is your servant boy and you're going to give him tons of terrible poisons and he might die, but if he lives, then you're going to give him this horrible life that requires lots of murder and is getting attacked for forever. So you've been thinking about that for a long time because you never trained in how it is that you handle things like the law of surprises or the abduction of children to become witchers. That's kind of like you had finished your training, but you yourself are not very far outside of your own apprenticeship, right? It's around level 5 that a witcher would finally be considered like go out there and travel on your own real witcher versus like I'm a beginning apprentice. I think you're level 6 now. So you're like,
Yeah, he wouldn't know Child of Grasses as well, so.
yeah, exactly. So you don't know, but that's okay. You usually most Witchers don't know Trial of Grasses. They bring them back to the keep to do it. So you don't exactly know how you're supposed to approach this. So you've spent the past couple of days kind of to yourself, really contemplating how your approach, especially since your own transition was different than many others. It's caused a bit of confusion for yourself and your whole life because of it. But and on top of that, the boy has been not completely, but fairly catatonic since the incident. Since he finished burying his parents, and kind of like settled in his family, I should say, and kind of like settled in. He's been kind of to himself and kind of like lingering on one of the horses as he went. I believe I described him before as being 6 or 7 years old, and so he's not a particularly old kid either. So now they've gone into this tavern. Not the one that was suggested to you, but the one where you're told that you have to go and get the information of where the Scoia'tael are. And this boy, you chose to stay behind with this boy, seizing this opportunity to speak to him. So, they went into the tavern, and you went off with him. Would you stay inside the city of Dorian to talk to him, which is kind of like a bustling city? Or would you go back just outside of the city walls over to where it is that you have the 5 horses stabled? Or maybe even out into the woods?
What I want to do is, I want to take him and basically go shopping and get him like kind of starter gear to train him in weapons.
Sure.
So like, a sword. I imagine I wouldn't be able to get a silver sword for him yet, just because that would be probably incredibly expensive, as well as like,
That's super uncommon.
Yeah, exactly. So, just like a steel short sword sort of thing. I'll get him a shield just because, gotta train him in shields.
Yep.
And then I'd probably get him like a bow and some bolts, like a crossbow.
Do me a favor, roll me a charisma check.
Mm-hmm. And I'd let him like pick anything out that he wanted specifically. Those are just kind of like the main thing. He's
very much, in case you don't remember from before, he saw your character with a bit of awe before, yours and Brand's. So he would more or less follow your lead gladly. I say gladly. At this point in time, he's more of a plug than he is an actual outward personality. But even if he were, he would follow your lead. So, anyways, as for the what it is that you're able to find, you've actually been in this city before. As I was describing in the first hour, the city itself is a bit of a crossroads for a lot of the other towns, villages, thorps, and cities around. So many different people travel through here. You would have traveled through here many times. But, you also have a good way of speaking to the locals to find out where details are. You knew that there was a shop here where you can get not just quality weapons, but also weapons for various ages and sizes. Oftentimes merchants, children, or knights' children and stuff like that, they would have weapons that they could start training with at a young age. You're not handing a 6-year-old a full-size short sword. That's too heavy. You know what I mean? Right. So you would hand them a sword that's more appropriately sized for them to start building up the strength and the muscle memory, etc. So you'd be able to find yourself to a smith that also carries such weapons, or would be able to craft one for you in short notice. You're able to find those items. You're going to pay full price for them because it's a different degree of the caliber of work to make those items at smaller size, even if it is less material to make it happen. So whatever it is you choose to buy for him, you can just look up the costs for it. So I think a short sword is like 2 gold and kind of like figure out your way from there. You get him, I imagine, leather armors too. So like you really want to get it all done. So you go shopping with it, but do you start the conversation before, during, or after the shopping?
So I wouldn't necessarily introduce it as him just straight up being a witcher.
Sure.
I would definitely, because as far as Bastion's concerned, he doesn't want to just like shock this kid with this sort of information, and it probably isn't the best idea to hide this information either. But Bastion is he's not the smartest man necessarily. He's not an idiot, but so I essentially am as of right now, the way I'm talking about it, as I, pick out gear for him and help him pick out gear, I'm essentially talking about it as if I'm teaching him how to protect himself, which I am planning on doing. And then after we get the gear, I want to take him to like the woods and train with him, essentially.
Okay. So the conversation you have with him, like you said, you're not taking the approach of, hey, guess what, you're now becoming a witch. You're taking the approach of, I'm going to teach you how to defend yourself. And so you spend your time going about that. And as I was saying before, he's kind of catatonic at the moment. He's not very responsive. He kind of follows your lead. And even his responses at first when it comes to the initial training, like when you bring him out to the woods and you tell him to like put his guard up, he'll like put his guard up and he'll like swing his sword, but he doesn't have any heart into it, which is fine. And we don't need to press the issue any further right now anyways. But he does understand what it is you're describing to him. He's not an idiot. And he does participate in the activities that you're setting up for him, even if there's no heart or real effort put into it. Your character's more passionate than he is like, do it now! So so you allow the almost lazy approach to it for this first evening. Let's flash forward a bit, and we kind of went about doing that. They hadn't come back out of the tavern yet, and it's getting pretty darn late. The boy should probably go to bed. We can say that you tuck the boy into whatever inn that you find for him, and all of you, and you can join them inside the tavern. It's the Cracked Mug. You were there when everybody else was told where it was, so you easily find your way there. And you can make your way in. As I described beforehand, this place was packed to the gills in one of those obnoxious scenarios. You have to push your way through the crowd. Now it is less than half that number of people. You know, it's still like every table is taken, the entire bar is wrapped around, and people standing behind that first row of people at the bar, and a couple others standing here and there, but lots of wide open walking room. You could even have areas you could open your full wingspan and not touch two people, you know what I mean? So so it is cleared out considerably. You make your way in, you find your way to where it is that they've been standing holding up, and then somebody passed out on the floor by the table. They've not moved much at all. As a matter of fact, they might be slowly dying of alcohol poisoning, but that's neither your problem nor, something you really even would be able to tell. When you approach them, I imagine Tal is rather intoxicated, as he has been since he gained the Lenard physique.
And so I raised the glass, and I smashed it into the side of his face, and he went down on the table, and then he started to clamber up. Bam! In the face again. And I said, this one's for my friends. And he went down, and
that's horrible.
Yeah.
No, I'm pretty sure he deserved it.
That he did. They were good people there, Luis. Good people. Good people who deserve a glass raised to them. He's not got a glass, obviously. This is not the establishment. This is like maybe a ceramic mug. Probably would.
Yeah, probably would. Exactly that. You gotta love when all the alcohol soaks into the wood, all the sugar soaks into the wood, and like mold starts growing inside of it. But they didn't understand the significance
Whatever
of
you
that.
put in, it comes out tasting like American bourbon.
American bourbon? Oh,
There's nothing wrong with bourbon.
it's too sweet. You need Scotch. You can have some other whiskeys are pretty decent, but bourbon is just might as well just suck on sugar cubes.
I love bourbon.
Ugh.
I love this.
It's like honey soaked sugar cubes. Ugh. So anyways, it's like Guinness. It's you might as well just drink liquid sugar. Ugh.
Guinness is nice. You know you can survive off Guinness and oranges alone.
What?
Yeah, I've done it before.
It provides you all the nutrients you need, Guinness and oranges.
Oh, that sounds wonderful, but
Yeah, I mean, like, can you imagine what it would do to your bowels? But, like, you can.
I'd rather just have beer that tastes like more than sugar and malt. So,
Wow.
yeah. Now you give me a Russian Imperial Stout. All right, now Arrogant Bastard Russian Imperial Stout. Now that's a beer. That's like sitting by a campfire, no jacket on, in the heart of the winter. You know, and you're drinking this, and you're like, I'm in a good mood.
Jacket is in what you wear, not jacket is in what you do with your dick.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a difficult one. I can never
ET,
tell.
not IT. ET, not IT. Okay. I was like, what? Oh, ew. So anyways, you go walking in as he's finishing a story that you're all too familiar with, and join up with them. You guys say your hellos, pleasantries, maybe even share one more drink together. Before finally you do see a finely dressed man come walking into the establishment. He is dressed quite fine indeed, and as I had said long ago when you had heard of this tailor, he is a half-elf.
Okay.
Oh, finally, someone to fix my shirt.
You yell that as soon as the very finely dressed man comes walking in.
Yeah, and I'll like spread out my arms like invitingly.
He
I
looks
whack him
over.
in the back of the head.
He clearly hears it, looks over to see the whack in the back of the head, and you like looking his way, the other one whacking you in the back of the head. And so he walks up to the bar. The people that are at the bar themselves, they kind of like a couple of them will like, shift over a little bit to make space for him to get there. And, he orders a drink. And it's one of those things where maybe it's a custom because like people don't move out of the way of the bar when somebody approaches somebody of significance, but he doesn't come off as somebody of significance. Just seems like somebody that has a bit of money because they're a successful tailor. But the people did move out of the way. And you come quickly to learn why. When he orders his drink for himself, he also orders it for those that moved out of the way for him. Like, orders some cheap crap, but gets himself something nice. There's actually a nice bottle of wine. And as he takes that bottle of wine, the most perceptive of you, do you see he, like, takes, like, a breath and then, exhales a sigh of, like, all right. And then walks over towards your table with a genuine smile on his face.
How genuine.
Not very. And he comes and says, hello and good eve. It seems like you were looking to speak with me?
Yeah, my shirt's ripped.
My suggestion, throw it away.
Wait, there was something else.
You see, he's very attached to this shirt. Perhaps we could make an appointment to see you in your shop tomorrow.
Ah, alas. Most people are attached to the shirt. There's a quick way to resolve that. He looks at the shirt and looks back and says, well, someone's already half ripped it. I suggest you find the last that did that much and have her finish the job.
He thinks you've got a lady.
He looks at the chuckles around the table and says, or gent. And then he, like, when nobody reacts at all, he looks a little concerned and says, or beast?
Okay, you can stop.
Well,
Stop.
what?
You can stop.
Oh, and then the whole table gets quiet again, and he's like, well, it looks like I've provided my services. And then he turns and starts to walk away.
Your fault, Tao. You
I don't
fix
see
this.
why it's I fixed this.
You gotta fix this.
Anybody say anything? Anything in particular?
Excuse me.
Walking out.
Excuse me, sir.
He turns back.
May we have a word with you in private?
He looks about and says, seems like no one's paying attention.
What private means.
Well, we were wondering if you could tell us a little bit about the goings-on of late. We're from East.
We traveled here from Carius.
We spent a lot of time there, and we don't want to spend longer here than we need to because we care for Carius and the dwarven people up there. So we thought if we got the lay of the land as quick as possible, we could get back there as quick as possible.
You traveled here from Curious and you want to know the most recent dealings? Perhaps the town crier would be a better source of information, but I suppose I can tell you that people are preparing themselves for the coming winter. There's been a lot of mercantile trade here and there, and business is doing well. Beyond that, I don't know how much more I could offer for you.
He's gonna turn to the others and say, "I'm not good with this cloak and dagger shit."
We could just kidnap him. I hope he didn't hear that.
Were you saying that out loud?
I imagine it was a little loud. But we won't know until, you know.
Oh, no one has anything else to ask the fine, friendly fellow here.
Fine, bros.
Well,
I mean, seems we've gone over the essentials, ripped the shirts, ask a town crier, that sort of thing.
you guys are very interesting. This conversation has been fruitful. I appreciate all that you've done. So, in the meanwhile, perhaps you should, go about your evening. I'll go about mine, and you'll find all your information as you've requested from, like I said, Town Crier is probably the best person that you can get that from.
Okay. Thank you. Young man.
None of you've been here before, have you?
No.
In that case, early in the morning, assuming you can wake up at such a time, he says, looking at the fact that all of you guys have a lot of empty bottles on the table. To be fair, though, a third of the bottles were here before you got here. A third of the bottles were Tal's alone, and the other third are still not drank. So he says, considering how, if you can get up that early, considering how much you've had, or whatever he just said, he's like, the best place to find the town crier is in the very heart of the town. There's a bit of a market there. Not much gets traded in the market because it's more about passing through, but you'll be able to find one there. Dawn. May I go?
Thanks for your help, mate. Have a good night.
Turns and he walks off.
As soon as he walks off, Tao turns to the others. He's like, "Fucking hell, we're screwed. Our only lead."
Yeah, just imagine, it's like, did we even know it was a tailor?
Gotta
No.
say it to the town crier or something.
Well, if
Yeah.
he didn't know anything, Town Crier's not going to know anything. I mean, it's not exactly a wise idea to have a Scoia'tael spy being the loudest person in the town, is it? Can you imagine?
When
Oh.
you said,
Oh.
yeah. I was gonna say, we're good.
It's like he's laughing about it, and then his face goes blank, and it's like there's a 5-second silence where five lick my balls.
Oh!
Whoa!
Where he look, Scott, that's just how you do it. You'll understand when you're our age. There's
Luckily,
like a
that'll
5-second,
never happen again.
blank face where he's like frowning, and he's like, maybe we should be up at dawn.
So,
Maybe we should.
so I imagine you guys have another drink or two before you go off to bed, because
Obviously.
that's obviously what somebody of your age would do, and you would you guys make your way to bed eventually, crash, wake up the next morning bright and early. Who actually gets up in time?
Probably me.
I like to think I would.
Okay, the two of them do.
I think Tal is
I gotta
probably
wake
not,
up early.
Tal's probably not suffering negative withdrawals currently because he's not withdrawing.
Does everybody go?
Sure.
Okay, so everybody goes the next morning, and you do see that there is a town crier. You can hear him before you see him. Hear ye, hear ye! Booming voice that echoes out into the town. Latest news coming from Vizima. Hear ye, hear ye!
Oh, I can't say that.
And so they're just kind of giving their morning spiel of what it is it's supposed to do. As you guys approach, you do see that there is a kind of a stout dwarven man that's standing there with a fairly well kept beard on him that looks vaguely familiar from the night beforehand, but wearing like bright red fine clothes on him as he kind of like stands out with the brightness of his clothes in the darkness of dawn. And so as you guys approach, he's giving his big announcements and whatnot. When the four of you approach him, clearly get his attention. He finishes whatever sentence he was just saying, and he turns to you and he's like, "Morning to you."
Morning, sir. What's the latest goings on around here, then?
Oh, it depends on where it is you're asking. To the north, to the south, to the east, or the west. Perhaps you care about the city of Dorian. Most others don't, but perhaps you do.
We actually care for Carius ourselves.
Yes. We care deeply for Carius and all the dwarven people.
You say it again.
He looks to you and says, "Aye, as do many of us. Perhaps then you would like to find out where the source of this information comes from."
No.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Well, information is not one of those things that you can get freely. It's one of those things that you must barter for. Perhaps you have a bit of information for me traveling from the east before I tell you information of the west.
Well, we can tell you news of beasts being slain near Vizima.
I care not about beasts, at least not those that walk on four paws and covered in fur. Perhaps those that have hardened shells that shine like the morning sun, and whose talons are forged by fire and steel.
Luis is obviously annoyed at this man's riddles.
Well, we do have some news, but I can't promise that you'd like it. Unfortunately, it's a sad state of affairs.
No news is good news.
Well,
Some would be.
in that case,
It might be best that this conversation be in a bit more of a private setting.
He looks about. There's a lot of people bustling about, and much like how the tailor had said beforehand, he looks to you and says, "Seems like no one's paying attention," which is true. I mean, you guys actually look about, and there are a considerable number of people, but everybody's just so busy about their own day that they don't realize what's going on. Much like how,
It reminds me of that one place I went to.
tells
There you go.
like glimmers. And he says, "Unfortunately, his cave is no longer a cave, but a grave." And he grins to the others.
No stress.
Oh my fucking god.
um,
Time to start a rhyme.
it is a crime. So anyways, you do your little rhyme there, and it's not like he doesn't give you like any sass or anything about it, but he does say "Oh, that's unfortunate." And how about the ground itself? Do the rocks shift and slide with the pounding of steps?
But not the steps of the dwarves.
Sorry, it almost seems like offensive, but like, I don't know. Seems like something you
What are you
don't.
talking about? There's no dwarves. They're all dead there. That's why
Yeah,
there's
I know, but you
no
don't
more
say
dwarf
it.
steps.
You should have said not the steps of friends.
No, the dwarves. We care for the dwarves and the dwarven people.
Oh.
Oh, he said it again. Okay. I was got to trust this.
There was someone of significance that had traveled to the west, under the protection of Mama Bear. You know how those bears protect their cubs,
Oh,
especially deep into the woods, where it is a natural environment for them to watch after the youth. Unfortunately, it seems as though another predator had come a stalking in, prowled in the shadows, unbeknownst to those that live in the woods what their true intentions were. Welcomed in this predator, welcomed into their home, believing it to be a tame cat, but unfortunately, no cat can truly be tame. They're all vicious beasts looking to claw and bite at anyone that they would claim to be their master.
Yes, we know well of this pussy.
Oh! Dunce has been holding on to that for like 2 months.
It must have been.
Straight off the dome, baby.
Oh.
The fuck? Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you, Dunce.
There were reports of fires in the west. Those are the most recent ones. Forest this time of year, as the seasons change, is a bit drier than others, and it goes up a bit quicker. Sometimes fires can travel faster than foot's fall. For more recent news than that, you're going to have to travel to the source. Perhaps you would like to know where this fire is believed to have started.
That would be helpful.
Just so happens for you that I have a map. Though the landmarks on it might not be so accurate any longer. I trust that you, and he actually will have his eyes linger for an extra half second on Luis, are familiar with traveling through the wood.
I give him like a pat on the shoulders, like he will get us there.
He nods and he hands you a folded piece of paper.
I unfold the piece of paper.
He rolls his eyes. No, you unfold the piece of paper, and it is a map. But the funny part about the map is, it is not a map that shows roads, towns, anything like that whatsoever. It's a map that has things like so you'll literally like, it's not a drawing, it's a description. So it'd be like you'll take so many paces, like, so it's like travel for X number of days to get to here, and then you'll see a rock by this description. So it's that kind of a map, as opposed to having like images or anything like that for you to work off of. So it actually requires literacy, which not everybody's literate. So
I promptly take the map back.
so anyways, no, it is fairly detailed, though, something that you could work with.
Okay. Can do.
Cool.
And with that, he does, he will... My phone's vibrating, sorry. Oh, that's funny. My father is calling me. I don't think he knows my schedule. So, he will actually look to Bastion and gesture towards the Mahawken steel blade that you have and say, earned or looted?
Earned.
Earned.
A favor from a friend.
I wouldn't mind looting one, though.
I slap him on the head. It's like, no, bad.
You're like my grandma. Good kid, dumb kid. Good kid, dumb kid.
Yeah,
What was that?
I wasn't around for all of this.
Yeah. But either way,
Exactly.
he nods to what you guys are saying, and it, more or less, you get that feeling. Oh, my daughter stole my D20. I just realized my
It's
daughter.
a weirdly specific feeling to get right now.
Oh, that's just. I just looked up. And my daughter stole my D20 when she was in here a little bit ago. She always steals my dice. She loves dice. So anyways,
30 on the dice.
Of course. I mean, I started when I was 6. She started when she was less than 1. So the
Whoa, you gave dice to a child less than 1?
Absolutely.
My God, that is a choking hazard right there.
They're about this big in foam.
Okay, never mind.
But now she uses real ones. So my apologies. Unless you guys have anything else to talk about, you can kind of get that impression that the conversation is trailing off.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
so,
we'll leave him to it, I guess.
okay. When you guys do leave him, I imagine you continue conversation a little bit amongst each other, unless it's pretty much understood what you need to do next.
Yeah, we need
Brand's
to go get...
deeply depressed by the amount of rhyme.
What do you mean? That was fantastic. It was excellent. I didn't see any of you coming up with anything better.
Maybe
Because
something
I
that
gave
doesn't-
up halfway through.
Well,
God.
one of us never gives up. Even death can't stop him.
Yeah, you're welcome. About the never giving up part.
we should probably go and get Hoyt.
Yeah.
Who? Oh yeah, the boy. Yeah.
Boy,
Boy.
So you can go and collect him from the place. Because this is a crossroads of many merchants, there are a lot of wares you could purchase here if you cared to before you continued on. Was there anything else?
Magical? Wink, wink.
Let's spend our gold.
I mean, magical things are not super common in this world. Charms and stuff like that are, but not like, oh, I've got a magic wand of fireball. You know?
But
I've
that's
always thought ones are a bit lame anyway.
I would like a deck of many things or whatever it is.
deck of anything.
R.I.P. stream.
Yeah. So, is there anything? There are things that are enchanted, but subtly so, not like flaming swords and stuff like that. To answer your question, Messy, is there anything particular that characters would like to look for or upgrade?
I don't suppose that this is going to be a big reach, but I don't suppose there's like an enchanted robe or something.
Enchanted robe. I mean, so something like that I would be able to get for you would be more
But,
or
like,
less
Subtly enchanted. So say like behind the scenes, if you're rolling for everything you did, maybe it just added a +1 onto it.
So you guys have,
You know, armor class is nice.
you guys already had that 21. It's showing at the bottom of the list of rolls right here. So that 21 to find out where things were in the city by Bastion, who's been here before. He'd be able to find stuff for you relatively quickly. So for an enchanted robe, I'll be more than happy to sell you one. It ain't gonna be cheap. For if you have the coin and you want to spend 5,000 gold, you can have a robe that is always mage armored for you. Or if you cast mage armor, it increases the effectiveness of it by 1.
That's insane.
That is-
Always mage armored.
Yeah.
I'm willing to pitch in. I've got 1,600.
I mean, that would get me like a permanent AC of 12.
Or if
How
you
much-
cast it, a 13.
How much does the?
Yeah, but I've got a -1 dex.
No. I said, but remember, if you cast the spell mage armor while you're wearing it, it increases it by 1.
It's like mage armor, Kaioken.
Can you cast, Rick? You have 2nd level spells. It might be worth your while if you can try to get your hands on Barkskin. Barkskin's that spell where it's your AC cannot be less than 16. Some people misinterpret the spell that you can also go higher than 16. Like, oh, if we cast mage armor and have a shield, you can have an 18. But it's supposed to be, you just cannot be less than 16. So unless your other math equals more than 16, it's just blah 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 blah. But it might also be a cheaper option for you. Just suggestion.
Well, now you see, I can't shoot so well with my crossbow anymore. So a different spear might be nice.
Would I have noticed any when I was taking boy shopping earlier?
He has a name.
Hoyt.
When I was taking Hoyt's rug shopping earlier, would I have noticed anything? And I don't mean specifically for me either. I mean like any nice equipment like of higher quality than we have currently for anyone. In the party.
So for your 2 swords, because those are particularly good, your great sword and your Mahawken steel blade, not for that. For like armors, sure, yeah. For shield quality, yeah, because you don't have a particularly nice shield, you just have a shield. So yep, for those things, for their weapons and armors, definitely, except for what's his name, Bran has like a magical cudgel, more or less. So
Right.
so he has the best weapon there. As for what's his name over there, I'm terrible at names at the moment. Tal, you would definitely be able to get your hands on a better spear, like haft and whatnot. But once again, your spear head is a really, really finely crafted head, so you just be able to put it on a better haft that's like, you know, better balanced, more follow through, so on and so forth. As for a bow, absolutely, I would definitely let you find a bow.
Oh, thank God.
Absolutely a bow.
All right, let me figure the bow out.
Would that do anything mechanically, or?
Yep, all of them would do something mechanically. So like I said, it's going to be more subtle. So these are going to count as like magic weapons in the sense they give you that +1 chance to hit and damage. Or if you can afford it, a +2 chance to hit and damage. Those are considerably more expensive.
I doubt we can afford that.
I just got to remember how much the cost for a +2 is, because it goes from uncommon and up. So let's see, 5e, prices by rarity. Cost by rarity. And here we go. So uncommon weapons. So here we go. +1 weapons are rare, and very rare is +2, which is 5,000 or more. So how much do you guys actually have amongst yourselves for us to do a very quick shopping stream?
I've got like 1,570 gold on me.
Yeah, 1,600.
So you guys would easily all be able to buy yourselves, depending on what item it is. I'll tell you how much it costs. A +1 weapon.
+1 variant.
Yep. No question on that.
I don't really need one. I've got a crappy crossbow, but I never use it. It's literally just for
Yeah,
show.
you've got your crappy crossbow and your electrified dildo, so you're all right.
I've got my swords.
You've got my Hackham steel. Yeah, that's true.
Yep. But you guys can get better armor. So +1 armor. So more or less like finely crafted armor that you can put onto yourselves. Absolutely, I would charge you about 1,000 for that. 1,000 plus base cost. Anybody else?
Yeah, I'm pretty much going to. If anyone else wants to get anything but they can't afford it, I'm gonna help them out first, and then.
Yeah, I don't wear armor.
Yeah, if I have money left over, I might upgrade my armor.
How much do you have there, Donkey? Money?
I have 1,600.
Oh, so you're just shy of being able to buy yourself better armor and shield. So it's +2 AC that would count as.
I could easily give you 400. Like, the only thing I might get is that rogue that's like, oh, always mage armor, but if I'm planning to get a skill, a spell that's like, oh, you have AC 16 forever for like an hour.
Well, yeah, for an hour, yeah. How about you, what's your face?
I'm gonna bow.
Yep, so that's going to cost you, what, 1,100? And you can have your +1 bow.
All right, let's do it.
There you go. So just more or less under magical modifier, under your bow, you just add that +1. Anything for you there, Tal? This is just going for simple +1 items. You can also get other types of magic items too.
I would like that spear haft.
There you go. So that's going to be counted as a +1 spear.
Lovely.
Okay, that's more or less how you're upgrading that one. But the idea is, like, the reason why I'm saying it's only the haft or whatever that's affecting it is because theoretically your people make the best spearheads. So you would keep that spearhead forever.
What do you mean, you people?
So, I think if no one needs to borrow any of my money, I think I'll go with the shield. I'll go with an upgraded shield.
How much was that costing me?
That is a smarter option because not only does it affect your AC, it also affects your other abilities.
I fucked up. I clicked it when I didn't mean to.
And also, I want to hold on to my shield and give it to Boy when he's bigger.
What were you asking me, Tal?
How much was the spear haft?
Because spears are so cheap, just 1,000 gold.
Mine will be 1,010, right?
Correct, yeah.
I mean, I have 600 spare if you wanted to get the armor as well.
I literally haven't spent anything, so if you want, I'll just shove you 400.
I mean, I'll take armor.
Yeah, you may as well upgrade.
Yeah, get the +2 AC, boy.
All right. How much would that cost for me, or if anything?
It's an additional. So, what kind of armor were you wearing prior?
Chain shirt.
Okay, so what kind of armor? Let me. You were in chain shirt. What's your dexterity?
10. So 0 modifier.
Really? But you're only proficient with up to medium armor, right? Yeah, you're not proficient with heavy armor unless you're bear school. So chain shirt. So what you would want to, ideally, what you want to have is +1 breastplate, because half plate is, even though it's the highest AC, it unfortunately also provides disadvantage on stealth checks. And I think you care about being able to stealth.
Yeah.
So you'd want to upgrade to +1 breastplate. So it's actually in total going to cost you 1,400 gold to buy that. So I think you're going to have to borrow 400 gold from each of 2 different people, if they don't mind doing that for you. And that's going to increase your...
I have 600 left.
Yeah,
so 400 from each of us, yeah.
from each of those 2, from Bran and Tal. So that
I mean, I can
increases...
just give you the full amount if you want.
That's up to
No,
you.
no, just do the 400. It'll make it easier.
Okay, there you go.
Okay.
And just so you know, that increases your base AC from 13 plus dex to 14 plus dex, and then it's also magical, so it's 15 plus dex. So your armor alone brought your AC up by 2. Your shield brought your AC up by 1. Your AC actually should be, what's your dexterity? You said nothing? So 15, 7, you should have an AC of 18, I think, now. Do you have a 15 before?
Yes. 15.
You have an
It's
18
15.
now.
Okay.
Which is...
That's great.
Yeah, it's a huge jump. That's awesome. So maybe you can get slapped around a little less often. You'll get slapped around more often.
So, do I need to just like drag it in from the compendium or something?
Breastplate, you can totally drag that in from the compendium, delete the other one off, and then modify it to have the +1. We can adjust it later on, just as long as you remember it's an 18. So I think that's everything we needed to purchase. One last thing I want to say about items before we push on.
Yeah.
Did you have a question?
Yeah. Can I get some better arrows?
Ooh, that's a good question. So arrows work similarly. I know in older editions, it was a pack of, I think it was 50 arrows for +1 cost the same cost as a bow of +1. You know what I'm saying? So if you wanted to spend another 1,000, you could have 50 +1 arrows. Or you could have arrows that do other things. But in this scenario, do you have the ability to craft? Did you take any kind of crafting skill, like tools or anything like that, or no, like fletching?
No.
Gesundheit.
Bless you.
Thank you. Sorry.
Welcome. No, you did the best you could. I'm always like,
I don't think I have crafting, as far as I know.
okay, so then you do have to pay to buy it. You can always buy what's called trick arrows. Trick arrows allow you to do things like instead of piercing damage, it's bludgeoning or slashing. Maybe it's an arrow that has like a fork to it, so it can like pin things in. You know, stuff like that you can always try to get. Or like, dude, no, just the +1 damage is fine.
Maybe you bounce it off like 2 different surfaces before hitting the actual target.
No, that's a trick shot.
I don't have enough for 50 of the. I mean, I guess I can get less than 50, right?
Of course, yep, prorated. So
Could
200
I-
gold would get you 20, a whole pack of nice ones.
200 give me 20. Okay, do I need another
Right?
quiver to hold?
No, 400. 400 get you 20. Sorry.
I need another quiver to hold it, though, right?
I mean, realistically, just a quiver says it holds 20. One of my old racist rules in D&D was an elf can hold 50 arrows in a quiver, a half elf can hold 30 arrows in a quiver, and a human can hold 20. Just because you're just that dexterous and fine with those things, it's part of your culture. So,
Okay. Sure, so I'll hold 30. Okay.
yeah,
So-
that's one of my old Faerun rules, and for decades. So, anyways, so you'd have 20. You're spending 400 gold, 20 +1 arrows.
Okay.
So make sure you can have that modifier there, and 10 of your non+1 arrows,
All right.
and you can kind of handle that. All right, and the last thing I wanted to say is, remember that charm that you had that you got forever ago? So after lots of time of experimenting with it and blah 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 blah, I believe the charm that I gave you was, oh crap, I closed my thing. It was one of the things you could have purchased off of what's his name forever ago.
Malvoon, yeah.
Malvoon. It was it the oh crap, I'm so sorry. I actually closed my.
It's the one that had transmutation and divination magic in it.
Yeah, give me 1 second. Sorry, I can open up my Google Drive, where I have that file. I thought I still had it open. I didn't. Here's Witcher, and here's shopping list. There you go. Periapt of Health. This one, yeah, that's right. This one was the because you already have the Periapt of Wound Closure. That's already what you're wearing, if I remember correctly. One of you guys bought the Periapt of Wound Closure ages ago, and so it can be used 3 times, and then you have to fill it with Belize Fruit. One of you guys got that ages ago. That's the one that will automatically stabilize you while you're dying. And I was sitting there thinking to myself, if only Neil had that at the end of that last combat. But anyway, so somebody on the party, I believe it's Rick, already has the Periapt of Wound Closure. Maybe it's Bastion. But the Periapt of Health, the way that this one works, is a reminder of what Periapt of Health does. It actually defends you against all diseases, so it's useless on somebody like Bastion. But for this world's version of it, you actually have to fill it with enough of your blood to make it function that you actually take a -1 to your Constitution score while you're wearing it. So you can wear it if you'd like, and you can attune to it and all that stuff, but you take a -1 to your Constitution score. So any of you are welcome to use that if you'd like. So while you're kind of thinking about that, and while we're finishing off this, why don't we take a quick break, and we'll see everybody in just a couple of minutes for the last hour. Okay.
All right.
See you shortly.
Cool.